Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1918B, and today's date is July 16th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Define Psychological Projection. Something big is about to happen. Now, before I get started, I want to talk about emergencies, disasters. When an emergency strikes, what's your first impulse? If your answer is to run to the grocery store, you'll likely find chaos and nothing but empty shelves. How do you avoid this? It's simple. You use today to make a plan, to prepare. I trust and use my Patriot Supply for my food storage. Have you seen the 2-week food supply in a locking tote from my Patriot Supply? If not, get online now and get a few. And save $62 off the regular price of this 2-week emergency food kit when you go to my special website, preparewithx22.com. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the elite are now panicking. It's just not the deep state. The elite are worried about Epstein. Remember, the swamp is deep and wide, and it's just not government employees. Those who have had contact with him, those who have been to his island, those who have been blackmailed, they know if this information comes out, they are completely done. The panic is real, and it is spreading outward. Now, before we go into all of that, let's just start with Biden and what he said. Now, the Dems, they are going back to their old script. Why? Because they want everything back the way they had it. They want to continue with their agenda. They don't like what is happening right now. Now, Biden pledged that Americans who like their employer-based or private insurance plans could keep them under a sweeping healthcare reform proposal his campaign unveiled on Monday. Now, think about this for a second. He's using the same exact script that Obama used when he passed the Affordable Care Act. Ryan Savender tweeted out the following. Joe Biden repeats Obamacare line while describing his healthcare plan. If you like your healthcare plan, your employer-based plan, you can keep it. If you like your private insurance, you can keep it. Think about what he is doing right now. This is the theme of his campaign. We're going to return to a healthcare system where exchanges go bankrupt, insurance premiums rise so nobody can afford them. You cannot access the benefits because of the high deductibles. You have to pay those first. And if you don't like what they're offering, you'll be penalized with a tax penalty. That's exactly what Americans need. No, we don't. And as you can see, they're trying to go back to where they were. There is no going back, and nobody is buying this anymore. Now, yesterday we mentioned how Trump tweeted out certain information that said, hey, certain individuals in Congress, you might want to go back to your own countries, fix what's there, then come back here and show us how it is done. Of course, the mainstream media, these individuals and many more, they're out there pushing race, that Trump is racist. Now remember, everything that Trump and the Patriots do, it is planned. Do you think he just put this out there and they didn't realize what was going to happen? Of course they did. They knew exactly what was going to happen. And we're going to break this down of why they decided to do this. Remember, this is all about exposure. This is all about showing the American people who and what these individuals are. And the only way to do this is to move them this way, move them a little bit this way, and have them out of fear, panic, and desperation spill the beans. Take everything that's in the shadows and bring it out into the light so everybody can see it. Now, Trump, he tweeted out the following. The Democratic Congresswoman had been spewing some of the most vile, hateful, and disgusting things ever said by a politician in the House or Senate. And yet, they get a free pass and a big embrace from the Democratic Party. Horrible anti-Israel, anti-USA, pro-terrorist, and public shouting of the F word, among many other terrible things. And the petrified Dems run for the hills. Why isn't the House voting to rebuke the filthy and hate-laced things they have said? Because they are the radical left, and the Democrats are afraid to take them on. Sad. Now, Trump said something very interesting in his next tweet, that we will never be a socialist communist country. And the question is, why would he say this? First, the tweet. We will never be a socialist or communist country. If you're not happy here, you can leave. It is your choice, and your choice alone. This is about love for America. Certain people hate our country. They are anti-Israel, pro-Al-Qaeda, and comment on the 9/11 attack. Some people did something. Radical left Democrats want open borders, which means drugs, crime, human trafficking, and much more. Detention facilities are not concentration camps. America has never been stronger than it is now. Rebuilt military, highest stock market ever, lowest unemployment, and more people working than ever before. Keep America great, he continued. The Dems were trying to distance themselves from the four progressives, but now they are forced to embrace them. That means they are endorsing socialism, hate of Israel, and the USA. Not good for the Democrats. Remember, the deep state and all the other players never encountered someone that would defend the country, defend himself, and call them out on what they are trying to do to America. Trump and the Patriots are busy exposing everything that they're doing, and all of this is being done on purpose. He continued with his tweets. If you come after the president, the country, the flag, he's going to defend himself. What the squad doesn't like is that Donald Trump is enforcing the very laws that are on the books that were put there by Congress. Jason Chaffetz, also by Jason's great new book, Power Grab. Those tweets were not racist. I don't have a racist bone in my body. The so-called vote to be taken is a Democrat con game. Republicans should not show weakness and fall into their trap. This should be a vote on the filthy language, statements, and lies told by the Democrat Congresswoman, who I truly believe, based on their actions, hate our country. Get a list of the horrible things they have said. Omar is polling at 8%, Cortez at 21%. Nancy Pelosi tried to push them away, but now they are forever wedded to the Democratic Party. See you in 2020. Now, we're going to be talking about the rest of this with Q's posts, but first, I want to go to why Trump put this out there. Number one, he has information about certain individuals, and he's bringing it to everyone's attention. And this is why he mentioned go back to your other countries, fix the problems, then come back here. He wants people to start to research and understand who these individuals are. Now, Gateway Pundit, they did a fantastic job researching Omar and her family. Representative Omar's father and other Somalian war crime perpetrators are currently living illegally in the United States. Omar's father, Nur Omar Mohammed, also known as Nur Saeed Elmi Mohammed, is connected to the former dictator in Somalia, Saeed Barre. Nur and other former Barre accomplices are living in the U.S. illegally. Omar's father, Mohammed, is living in the U.S. He and other Somalians like Yusuf Abdi Ali, who killed thousands for Barre, escaped to the West and were not vetted properly before entering the country. Barre was a dictator and was connected to Cuban dictator Fidel Castro. Ali is a convicted war criminal who did the killing himself. Ali has been located in the U.S. working as a security at Dulles International Airport and driving for Uber in 2019. He reportedly lived at one time in Alexandria, Virginia. Ali was a colonel in the Somalian Army's 5th Mechanized Brigade in 1987 and was a graduate of the Pentagon's program for foreign officers in 1986. He's also a war criminal in response to his actions in Somalia. Nur, Representative Omar's father, appears to have been a party propagandist under the dictator and was responsible for ideological aspects of the Red-Green Revolution. He worked for the regime under dictator Barre as a teacher of teachers. This could have been included providing the ideological political justification for the massacres of the late 80s. It is not a secret that Omar's father illegally entered the United States. According to a 2016 article on Omar, When the regime was being overtaken, the secure compound that the family lived in was under attack by 20 armed men. Somehow, the family escaped. It is not clear how. Both Ali and Nur escaped Somalia after the fall of Barr. Both ended up in the U.S. Both hid the fact that they worked for a totalitarian regime. Both lied on their Form N-400 application for naturalization about their communist background. They had to, or they wouldn't be here. Now, Trump doesn't mention something unless he wants this information out in the public eye. And he's calling attention to these individuals on purpose. Because think about their background. Think about what they're trying to push now in the U.S. And Trump, he wouldn't just come out with this if there wasn't a plan behind the scenes. Remember, all of this has been planned out from the beginning. And remember, his tweets had many different agendas associated with it to trap these individuals. Now, we're going to be talking a lot more about this a little bit later in the report with Q's posts. But first, I want to move on to Epstein right now. The elite are panicking. They are now in the process of getting ahead of the story. Take, for example, Wexner, the founder of Victoria's Secret. He's out there saying he knew nothing about Epstein being a registered sex offender and pedophile. Eva Anderson Dubin thought he had rehabilitated himself and deserved a second chance, even though he was a sex offender. We have other individuals out there like Clinton, like Stephanopoulos, like Hillary Clinton, many others. They're all coming out saying, we didn't know. Yes, I had dinner with him, but I had no clue. All of these individuals had a clue. They knew exactly what was going on. Remember, these individuals were creating an illusion that Epstein was an okay guy. These high-level people were in place for a reason. Notice he had many high-level female friends. This served as a social guarantor, a block, if you will. Peggy Siegel, a gatekeeper for A-list events, included him in a movie screenings, and Dr. Eva Anderson Dubin, a champion of women's health, maintained a friendship that some felt gave him credibility. This was all done on purpose to hide the fact that he's a sex offender, that he was having individuals fly down to his island where they would have sex with underage individuals. And now that he's radioactive, everyone is pretending that they had no clue. We see that Prince Andrew's sealed documents are going to be unsealed. A U.S. judge has ruled that the documents related to Prince Andrew's alleged sex slave can be unsealed. And remember, these are all the individuals we are supposed to look up to and say, oh, this is a good person, that's a good person, and if they're all connected, they're all good people. And if they're connected to Epstein, then everyone must be good, and we should be looking up to them because they're telling us what to think, what to do. And now, the whole thing is falling apart for them. This is why they're trying to get ahead of the story. That's why they're distancing themselves from Epstein, trying to get ahead of all of it. And they're using words like, oh, I was conned, I was tricked, I didn't know. But everyone knew because he was a registered sex offender, which began in 2008. So for them to say they didn't know anything, well, it's going to turn out to be a complete and utter lie, especially with all the video, with all the closed-circuit TV video, with everything that they have on them. There's no place for them to run. Let's move on to Elijah Cummings because there's an update about his little problem. Now remember, in May, it was first reported by the Washington Examiner that a charity run by Maya Rockeymoore, the wife of Representative Elijah Cummings, received millions from special interest groups and corporations that had business before her husband's committee. Cummings then blasted the complaint to the IRS against his wife as absolutely baseless. In June, Andrew Kerr revealed he obtained the audited financial statements for the charity run by the wife of Elijah Cummings. The documents reveal Rocky Moore Cummings paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to her for-profit LLC. Let's fast forward to today. The Foundation for Accountability and Civic Trust asked the Maryland Attorney General to investigate whether Representative Elijah Cummings and his wife used a charity for improper self-enrichment. And it looks like they're moving forward with this. So instead of Elijah Cummings trying to figure out how to get Trump's tax returns, he might be looking at his own problems right now. And this is why I believe Q continually says these people are projecting. Everything that they have done, they're trying to project on Trump. Now, let's move into the story of Seth Rich and Julian Assange. A couple reports ago, we talked about an article about Seth Rich, came out of Yahoo News, and it was this whole conspiracy and how everyone that was saying that there was a hit and he was murdered and he was the one who got the information from the DNC. That was conspiracy. He was killed by Russians. And he dealt with Russians. Well, now it looks like CNN is putting out an article where they have these new documents obtained exclusively by CNN. And the documents build on, and this is the key word, possibility raised by Special Counsel Robert Mueller in his report on Russian meddling. They have nothing. What are they doing? Remember, the deep state, they cannot deviate from the Russian narrative. But from these two articles, we can see that, first of all, they're using the same information, and they're hoping to continually do this to make everyone believe that this is a whole entire conspiracy theory made up of crazy individuals. And this is why they keep repeating it and adding on to it. But these two articles, we can see that something is about to break, and they're trying to get ahead of the story. We also need to remember that part of Mueller's objective was to protect certain individuals by showing they did nothing wrong. Email scandal, DNC hack, and they had to keep the Russian story alive. It's all going to fail. Why? Well, this is coming out of the Conservative Treehouse and the Gateway Pundit. A lawsuit which was filed by businessman Ed Butowski alleges WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange confirmed to Fox News analyst Ellen Ratner that the DNC leaked emails were received from Seth Rich and his brother Aaron. The details contained within the lawsuit filing are stunning. If this information is all true and accurate, the Department of Justice claim of a Russian hack based on assertions by DNC contractor CrowdStrike. The FBI never really looked at the servers at all. They have no investigative report, would be entirely false. Additionally, the DC murder of Seth Rich would hold a far more alarming motive. This is out of the court documents. 45. Mr. Butowski stumbled into the Rich crosshairs after Ellen Ratner, a news analyst for Fox News and the White House correspondent for Talk Media News, contacted him in the fall of 2016 about a meeting she had with Mr. Assange. Ms. Ratner's brother, the late Michael Ratner, was an attorney who had represented Mr. Assange. According to Ms. Ratner, she made a stop in London during a return flight from Berlin, and she met with Mr. Assange for approximately 6 hours in the Ecuadorian embassy. Ms. Ratner said Mr. Assange told her that Seth Rich and his brother Aaron were responsible for releasing the DNC emails to WikiLeaks. Ms. Ratner said Mr. Assange wanted the information relayed to Seth's parents, as it might explain the motive for Seth's murder. Now, if this information turns out to be completely true and accurate, the entire narrative around the DNC hack will have been proven to be intentionally manufactured. Now think about that for a second. If this information ever gets out, their entire Russian story falls apart. Why are they trying to get ahead of all of this now with these articles? Because they know that all this information will be coming out. Let's go back to post 3312. Q says, we have the source. Post 3341. And Anon asks Q a question. What can you tell us about Assange? Q says, under protection. threat is real. Key to DNC source, hack 187. So what's happening here is they understand that Julian Assange eventually will come to the U.S. and he will hand over the information. This will be documented information. Now remember, the charges against Julian Assange has nothing to do with the DNC hack. They're for a lesser charge, which I don't even think they can prove. And they're going to use this to bring him back to the United States. They're trying to get ahead of what is coming, and I believe this is going to happen very, very soon, because if they're putting these articles out right now, that means something big is about to happen. Now let's talk about what is happening down at the border with the illegals. First, let's look at a tweet from Trump. He tweeted out, "The Obama administration built the cages, not the Trump administration. Democrats must give us the votes to change bad immigration laws." Now, Obama built the cages. Trump inherited what Obama built. The mainstream media, Congress, didn't make a big deal about it back when Obama was president. Why? Because it wasn't part of their agenda. Now, Trump is trying to stop their plan, and they're making a really big deal out of these cages that Obama built. But they're leaving that part out of their news reporting. Remember, Trump inherited all of this. Trump decided, we're going to stop all of this from coming into the country. We're going to increase border security. We're going to follow the existing laws. We're going to build a wall. And we're going to change the asylum laws. And we're going to follow all the other laws that are in place. Now, Bill Barr, he invoked Section 1158 A2A, which is a multilateral treaty that declares Mexico a safe third country. Asylum seekers will be sent legally to Mexico for their hearing. The courts will not be able to act against Attorney General Barr because of Section A2. Now, this doesn't mean they're not going to try other tactics. But what's very interesting about this is that the law goes into effect in around 30 days. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a flooding of migrants at the border during this 30-day period. We'll have to wait and see how this all turns out. Now, something very interesting. Billionaire tech investor Peter Thiel believes Google should be investigated for treason. And he's accusing Google of working with the Chinese government. Trump tweeted out the following. Billionaire tech investor Peter Thiel believes Google should be investigated for treason. He accused Google of working with the Chinese government. At Fox Friends, a great and brilliant guy who knows this subject better than anyone. The Trump administration will take a look. So Peter has a couple of questions. Number one, how many foreign intelligence agencies have infiltrated your Manhattan Project for artificial intelligence? Number two, does Google's senior management consider itself to have been thoroughly infiltrated by Chinese intelligence? The billionaire said those questions need to be asked by the FBI, CIA. Number three, is it because they consider themselves to be so thoroughly infiltrated that they have engaged in the seemingly treasonous decision to work with the Chinese military and not with the U.S. military? Now, Anon put out the following. Why would the deep state and the mainstream media be worried about Peter Thiel working with Trump? Well, who is Peter Thiel? He's the founder of Palantir, an advisor to President Trump. What is Palantir? Software and hardware developed to integrate AI and human intelligence to solve the world's most important problems through modeling, programming, and data analysis. Number three, who is one of the chief financial organizations to fund Palantir? In-Q-Tel. What is In-Q-Tel? It invests in high-tech companies for the sole purpose of keeping the Central Intelligence Agency and other intelligence agencies equipped with the latest information technology in support of United States intelligence capability. Number 5, the name In-Q-Tel is an intentional reference to Q, the fictional inventor who supplies technology to James Bond. Palantir has helped expand and accelerate the NSA's global spy network, which is jointly administered with allied foreign agencies around the world. Think 5i. Number 7, notably, the partnership has included building software specifically to facilitate, augment, and accelerate the use of Xkeyscore. What is Xkeyscore? Xkeyscore is by the NSA's own admission its widest reaching program capturing nearly everything a typical user does on the internet. Emails, chats, web browsing, traffic, pictures, documents, voice calls, web photos, web searches, analytics, traffic, social media traffic, you name it, it is caught, even keystrokes. So this individual has a lot of information. He also, again, helped the NSA to spy on the entire world. So he knows exactly what is going on, and this is why the intelligence organizations, the deep state, the mainstream media are very worried about this. Now, out in Ukraine, Zelensky, the new president, he is cleaning house like Trump. And we know there's a lot of corrupt individuals within Ukraine. Remember, Obama, Biden, and the rest, they had a regime change in Ukraine. And what is he doing? He is replacing, right off the bat, 12 Ukrainian ambassadors. BLNL News tweeted out the following. Breaking. New Ukrainian President Zelensky has fired Valery Shalet, the Ukrainian ambassador to the U.S., who was accused of colluding with the DNC in 2016 to help Hillary Clinton. Do you think the Patriots are going to get a lot of information from Zelensky? Absolutely. Let's continue to watch Ukraine. I think a lot is going to be coming out of there. Let's get into Q's post. This is post 3436. Q gives us a post 2173. This is back September 15, 2018, and it says, they want you divided by race, divided by religion, divided by culture, divided by class, divided by political affiliation, divided you are weak, together you are strong. We the people, where we go one, we go all. Gave us a Twitter link to Representative Omar. This president, she said, would love nothing more than to divide our country based on race, religion, gender, orientation, ability, or immigration status. This is the only way he thinks he can prevent the solidarity of working people. We're not falling for it. Q says, define projection. Well, psychological projection is a defense mechanism in which the human ego defends itself against unconscious impulses or qualities, both positive and negative, by denying their existence in themselves while attributing them to others. For example, a person who is habitually rude may constantly accuse other people of being rude. It incorporates blame shifting. Those people that are racist accuse others of being racist. So what she's saying here, where she's saying Trump wants to divide the country, switch it around, she's projecting they want the country divided based on race, religion, gender, orientation, ability, or immigration status, which brings us back to her father, her family that worked for a dictator in Somalia, then entered this country illegally and was not properly vetted. Post 3437. Q gives us pictures of Trump with Jesse Jackson, other individuals, Snoop Doggy Dogg, and many others. And under this it says, what happens when the controlled are told to create a new false racist narrative? This is in brackets bold, disinformation campaign. Do the sheep follow? Think for yourself, see the truth. Let's review what has happened here. Nancy Pelosi tries to control the squad, calls out AOC and tells her to stop using social media and let's stop this online stuff of arguing with each other. AOC calls out Nancy Pelosi, says she is a racist. Pelosi was trying to move the Tea Party away from the squad. POTUS then came out and said, okay, Pelosi is not a racist. he said the following: AOC should treat Nancy Pelosi with respect. She should not be doing what she's doing. And I'll tell you something about Nancy Pelosi that you know better than I do. She is not a racist, okay? She's not a racist. For them to call her racist is a disgrace. Biden was attacked, and he was called a racist. And then we have Trump's tweets. Now, Trump tweeted out, and he did not mention race. He just said, listen, from those people that are from other countries that have problems, if you go back and fix those problems, come back to the U.S. and tell us how it's done. Because as of right now, your countries still have those problems. He's talking about the government. But the mainstream media, the squad, and everyone else goes crazy. Nancy was pulled back into the squad. Nancy takes it a step further. She's creating a resolution against Trump, siding with the squad. Trump does not back down, keeps pushing them. Was this a setup by Trump? I believe it was. One of his agendas, the plan. Dr. Gina tweets out the following: Trump is a genius. One tweet and the entire Dem Party is united behind its most radical members of Congress. The squad is now the face of the D Party. Think about what he's just done. Everyone is now looking at them, these four individuals. And soon, we will start to hear other information come out about these four individuals known as the squad. And they will be on the defensive. Just wait for it. Trump didn't put this out there for nothing. This was part of a well-orchestrated plan. Now, they continually say that Trump is a racist. And on the boards, someone put out a meme. And it says, Donald Trump is the first racist in history to have dated a black woman, which was Carrie Young, deported an ex-Nazi, upgraded MLK's birthplace to a National Historic Park, posthumously pardoned legendary boxer Jack Johnson, kissed the Western Wall, loved his Jewish grandchildren, established an Opportunity and Revitalization Council to restore black neighborhoods, signed a major criminal reform bill, granted Alice Johnson clemency, loaned his personal jet to Nelson Mandela, declared Jerusalem the capital of Israel, overseen the lowest black unemployment in history, denounced David Duke for over 20 years, been given a Lifetime Achievement Award after paving a way for blacks to enter corporate America. Donald Trump is the worst racist ever. No, this is a political stunt. And they're pushing their agenda. They're projecting everything that they want, and Trump is stopping them. Patriots are stopping them. Now think about what is happening right now. Remember the hoax crime with Jussie Smollett? Well, Q has told us that something's going to be coming out from the news about federal charges against Smollett. Then we have Trump tweeting out information on these individuals, which I believe more information is going to be coming out about these individuals. We also have the articles with Seth Rich, where they are now projecting, trying to get ahead of the story. And we know that Julian Assange is the source. And then we have the D-Class. We have Epstein Island. We have Uranium One, the email scandal. Something big is about to happen. And you can see the mainstream media, the deep state, they are preparing for all of this information to hit. And there is a lot coming out, and they are going to be bombarded by all of this. And most of these individuals, they're going to be going down with the ship. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.